Hey guys, what's going on? This is Brendan Vermeyer back again for another episode of our Functional Health Evolution Facebook Live series that we do on the public Functional and Diagnostic Nutrition main page. So for those of you tuning in for the first time, again, Brendan Vermeyer, I'm the director of the AFDNP, which is our professional association of functional and diagnostic nutrition practitioners. I'm super excited. I have a very special guest, friend of mine, Nicolas Pineault. So Nick is actually the EMF guy. He is known as the EMF guy and a true expert. We're going to be talking all about what are EMFs, because I know some of you guys might not know, but Nick, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing well, Brendan. Thanks for having me, and it was lovely. We did a webinar yesterday for a couple members. I'm looking forward to their feedback as well, and now I'm happy to have a chat again with the community.
Yeah, absolutely. Like Nick said, we had a full webinar last night. That was our professionals that are already FDN practitioners, but we don't want to limit this absolutely life-changing information because it's something that we all are potentially struggling with. We're all affected by daily, which are
Yes.
EMFs. And so, I'm not the expert. Nick, tell the public, whoever's listening in, what are EMFs? What's that stand for? What is it? We'll get into this here.
Sure. Well, EMF stands for electromagnetic fields, and this refers mainly to the new electromagnetic fields that we're exposed to, right? Because it's
Mhm.
important to keep in mind. A lot of people, when they hear about EMFs, they say, "Well, EMFs are everywhere in nature, right? Like the sun emits radiation," and that's true. But we know that certain types of EMFs in nature can have good sides and can have bad sides. And UV radiation from the sun is a good example, Brendan, because if you get overexposed, you can burn, or you can even augment DNA damage, or even have skin cancer. Right? You increase kind of oxidative damage on your skin, and that's not right. With the right dose, though, it protects your body because it creates this vitamin D on your skin. So that's a good thing. So we know that this kind of EMF has kind of a dose response relationship, and there's an upper limit that you don't want too much sun and not to burn, at least. When it comes to these new EMFs we're exposed to, I'm talking about cell phones and Wi-Fi and Bluetooth and all these man-made technologies, so to speak, and what they cause to human beings. And the popular thought at the moment is that they do nothing, right? And that's a convenient thought because if you start thinking about the fact that maybe it does something, well, it's kind of scary because we're all exposed, right? It's everywhere. Everyone has a cell phone. I mean, I can detect 75 networks here of Wi-Fi routers from my neighbors, and I could pick up the signal from the guy like passing by on Saint Denis Street right here in Montreal. I mean, it's like all these devices in cities, right? There's even, well, this term in Europe that they use a lot in scientific studies called electrosmog. And I like that because it shows you that now it's kind of a new type of pollution, except we don't see it like smog, this the kind of smog you would see in Mexico City, right? And people are
Mhm.
kind of running away. No, don't go outside. Well, we go outside and we were exposed to these things. And really the question and my entire work in the last 3 years has been looking, okay, is there a health effect, or is there no effect like most doctors think there's no effect, most engineers, most tech people, and most people listening to this thinks there's no effect. And what I found, unfortunately, is that a lot of people are affected by these devices, and their health can suffer as a consequence.
hmm Absolutely. And so I've been kind of chatting it up on social media lately and, explaining to my followers, but you're exactly right of kind of choosing to think it doesn't have an effect. That's very convenient. But the way I like to kind of articulate it to my clients and followers and stuff, I mean, literally you pull up your cell phone and you're looking at how many different Wi-Fi, accounts you can pick up. And it's like, guys, I think people need to understand, it's like this device is picking up a radiation signal that's being
Yeah,
transmitted through the air, and it's like we are bathing in this stuff. And
yeah,
when we think about the way that the human body operates on an electrochemical kind of atomic level, how could it not affect us? These are not natural EMF field. You pointed that out, sunlight and all these even like the earth's magnetic fields,
yeah,
but
exactly.
we've evolved with that. For
Yes.
200,000 years our bipedal hominid ancestors have evolved under those circumstances. But then in just the past, what was that statistic last night with the
Sure.
map on
Yes,
the
yes.
Tell
So
us
it was
about that. That was fun.
Yeah, people love those maps. So it's a map I showed yesterday, the increase of cell phone towers and Wi-Fi hotspots within the last 15 years, but the overall increase in the last 100 years since the 1920s, let's say ancestral levels of EMS. In the 1920s, there weren't a lot of EMS, maybe some radar technologies that just were being developed by the military, but barely anything. Maybe radio had started at this point. I'm not sure. So there wasn't a lot of electrosmog. And now the levels nowadays, right now, I'm being exposed to levels a quintillion times higher than back in just 100 years ago, like your grandfather. So it's really important to note that, well, so this is just a fact, right? It's also a fact that we're exposed to more toxin, to more chemicals, to more stress. There's ozone depletion. Like there's a lot of problems or of different things that we could argue play a role in, like, why are people so dysfunctional these days? A lot of people are more fatigued than they should, and there's these epidemic in the population that are oftentimes kind of blamed on food and diet. Or lack of exercise, like diabetes or chronic heart disease or Alzheimer's. And now it's even in kids, chronic conditions. It's almost 50% of kids in the US that have a chronic disease of some sort. If we include obesity, I think it's 54%. It's ridiculous. And it's scary. We don't know exactly what is it that's ailing all these kids. Well, it's a slew of different things that I think we changed in our environment. So if we decide to go back to natural foods, I think it makes sense. Maybe the food is lacking the nutrients. So let's grow better foods in better soil. Let's clean the air. Let's clean the water and have water filtration at home. These are good steps, because back in nature, we had these things that were clean and now it's unclean. So maybe that's a factor. But something that almost every single person on the planet is missing at the moment is, well, these new EMS that are a billion times higher, and we can't see them, and we've been taught that they do nothing, which is simply not the case, as the latest scientific studies showed. And it's a matter now of, if we accept this new reality, it is very inconvenient and very scary for a lot of reasons. I mean, imagine people who have been installing these things in schools. If we say, well, maybe